Good morning. I'm Brian Reagan. This is
Tyler Kelly.
we welcome you to Mornings with Brian and Tyler. Today we're in the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verses 14 through 22.
And they made their brick, and in all manner of service in the field, all their service in which they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when you do the duties of a midwife for the Hebrew women, and see them on the birth stools, if it is a son, then you shall kill him. If it is a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said to them, why have you done this thing, and saved the male children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And so it was because the midwives feared God that he provided households for them. So Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive.
All right. So, Shiphrah and Puah. We answer the question, or the question gets raised here. Is it acceptable to lie if there's a good reason for it? Well, that's one way to look at this. Did they lie? Point of fact, generally speaking, women in countries where women do physical labor and things like that generally do deliver rather quickly, whereas in urban societies that have a lot of ease, childbirth is much more prolonged, etc., etc. So their statement isn't wrong. But I think the bigger issue is, did they choose to bless or curse their people? You say, you're going to go here on abortion, aren't you? Because for those of you who think the abortion issue is over with because of the Supreme Court's ruling a few weeks ago, where they said we never should have ruled on this anyways, it wasn't within our authority by the Constitution. Any people who support the killing of their people, by whatever logic you want to support it, are the enemy of their own heritage. Okay? Why did God bless them? Why did God make Shiphrah and Puah a house? Because they preserved and took care of that which God had promised, blessed, and covenanted. They took care of that. They say, but they lied. Did they? The Hebrew women probably did deliver their kids faster. They probably could not make it to everyone all the time. Look at Pharaoh's question, first of all. He said, why have you done this thing and have saved the men children alive? Why have you done this? They didn't actually ever answer that question, did they, Tyler?
Mm-mm.
So they never answered the first half of the question. Second, you saved the men children alive. Why have you done this and saved the men children alive? Because the Hebrew women, not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. First of all, 2 midwives, not enough to take care of the entire nation of Israel. These are the midwives in charge of the rest of the midwife fleet. Okay? It's like a registered nurse that, say, has 100 LVNs or LPNs working under her. A charge nurse. The charge nurse is responsible for what goes on with all the other nurses. If something goes sideways, they say to the charge nurse, how come you? So first of all, understand Shiphrah and Puah, they've got other midwives. Because they say, ere the midwives arrive. Okay?
Well, if you're the only two, then who are the other ones?
Okay? But these two told the rest of them, you're not going to obey this order. So they didn't. What could they have said? Wait. And, give it a couple extra minutes. Go get a cup of tea. Once you see the head come out, once you see it crowned, step away from the table till, there's a lot of ways they could have gotten around this. You say, well, that just sounds shady. It sounds like you're trying to make excuses for him lying. I don't see that they lied. I see that they never answered his question in the first place. They gave him an answer that never answered what he asked them in the first place. They never denied doing what he said, but they also never took ownership of it either.
I'd be more concerned as Pharaoh with the fact that they didn't answer your question and that they're clearly not listening if the people that you're told them to get rid of are now multiplying. Like you and I were talking about, it goes back to God blessing the midwives and the people.
Yeah. And so, the blessing is there. The blessing's there. They're not doing wrong. They're doing what they're supposed to anyways, protecting their heritage.
Mm-hmm.
So God blessed them. Just because they were wiser than Pharaoh. This Pharaoh ain't that swift. This will be the dad, most likely. Okay, because 80 years from now is going to pass when the Exodus occurs. This is either the dad or the granddad of the Pharaoh that Moses will butt heads with. So this dude wasn't super wise. So Tyler, tell me, did you put mayonnaise on your lunch today? Now you answer me and say, I'm going to take my car in tomorrow.
I'm taking my car in tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Which is technically today when we're recording this.
Well, it doesn't matter when.
I know.
Now you might go, oh, okay. Well, I guess that satisfies my question about mayonnaise.
Totally.
You're taking your car to the shop.
Very important.
And some of you are going, that doesn't answer anything. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
They never answered his question. If you don't answer the question and they don't clarify and make you answer it, did you lie? You see, sometimes not every question deserves an answer. Unless you need proof of that, go back and read Jesus and his crucifixion trials. With the Sanhedrin, with Caiaphas, both times with Pilate and with Herod. Herod tried all kinds of stuff. Jesus didn't answer him anything. You don't have to open your mouth. And you don't necessarily have to always answer the question you're asked. Because who would have gotten in trouble if Shifra and Puah would have answered this? He would have killed all the other midwives probably. And he'd have probably killed them. But in not answering the question and in directing it in a way that he didn't know what to do with the answer, they dealt wisely. Isn't that interesting? Right? That Pharaoh thought to deal cunningly, right, with the children of Israel, but it's the midwives who have the wisdom. So, it's never wrong to preserve life. It's never wrong to preserve life for God's people. Other thoughts, my brother?
No, sir.
With that, I'm Brian Reagan. This is
Tyler Kelly.
And we bid you good day. Tyler, when do we hope to see him again?
Tonight at 7 o'clock at the Lake Butler Church of Christ in Lake Butler, Florida, either in person or on our live stream.
For the sayings of Jesus. All right. Till then.